Awesome. Guys, well, thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate your time. I know everybody's very anxious to hear from you. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the questions that we can get started. So the first question for the panel will be for all the panelists. Which workforce skills have become most valuable because of AI? And how should colleges prepare students for it? Who wants to volunteer?
Can you guys hear me? From the cybersecurity perspective, as most of you heard this morning, a lot of what's going on is we're seeing the drudge work of cybersecurity being taken over by AI. And from my perspective, of all the things we've done and teaching RPG, what I'm trying to get the students to do is to understand that AI is a tool to use and to learn how to utilize it as such. And that is a shift for students. Traditionally, students are like, I'm learning something. We're trying to teach them how to apply AI, not just know what it is, if that makes sense. So that skill is a soft skill. Now, from a technical point of view, the AI stuff is a little different. And I have to, how to verbalize this is the key. The AI stuff is just like any other tool, it's just how you use it. And the kids are learning the skill of how to make an AI, how to use an AI. So that's not a skill relatively recently that most people have had to learn. Most of us use ChatGPT. And this is just my view of AI, because AI is a catch-all term. ChatGPT is not necessarily what we call in the industry AI. It's more of machine learning, but it's not a true AI. So if you're seeing with ChatGPT, it's not a true AI skill yet. But we're trying to teach the students how to start being basically the guys that engineer the AI that can use it. Not necessarily the AI being the master. And that's the conundrum that we're, at least me personally, and academia are running into. So that's the short answer. I bet a longer answer.
That's good.
But I'll hand it off to my other panelists.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I agree. I'm representing sort of the design of product and the manufacturing. Also, what we're seeing is the soft skills have to be elevated. It's no longer just follow a rigid process, X's and O's. It's gathering data, realizing the data, and then being able to interpret it in beyond just the X's and the Y's. It's the causes and effects, the predictions, to be able to go on and take the next step. So in the world we're in now, and evolving even more to it, you're not comfortable around computers. And if you don't have the basic comprehensive skills to debug and take and assume next actions. I brought this up before, we're evolving into chess players, our workforce. It's not only the next move, but it's the move after the next move that's often important. And we're working to develop those soft skills in our employees to be able to leapfrog into this technology era.
Thank you very much.
And so I'm representing healthcare, and one of the things that I love about artificial intelligence is what is artificial intelligence? And we spoke about this just a while ago. If I ask each of you, what is AI? I'm sure all of you would give me a different answer. And in healthcare, I remember starting my career, we had flow sheets when we would document on our patients, just flow sheets. And to see it evolve over the years to where we got EMR, where we're documenting in a computer, then to our new Da Vinci's, where I see a physician. If you would have asked me 25 years ago, would a doctor be practicing in a surgery room, outside the surgery room, as a robotic surgery? I would have said, no, you're crazy. But we're seeing the enhancement of technology in healthcare, and one of the things that really intrigues me is we have to be careful, and I've heard a couple of our speakers already say it. AI will never replace human connection, ever. And that is one of the things as a CNO that I love is a meaningful connection with everyone that I meet. And so although AI will continue to develop and enhance, it will never take away the human connection. So we have to work with the colleges to make sure that we're working alongside AI and make sure that we're developing the students to understand the communication behind AI. but we also need human override at all costs, and we do have that in healthcare.
Now, like what you mentioned earlier about how it's going to augment us, not displace us. We got to work alongside.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. Across all industries, that's going to be the key. Across all industries, for construction, electricians, all that stuff. And both your points. The human is always going to be in there, and you have to understand in a certain way that AI is not creative per se. It doesn't have the human intuition, those things. So don't get the idea that it's going to be replaced. To everybody's point, that's the furthest from the people that are even developing AI. Although there is a French group that wants to replace humans with that, but for the most part, everybody understands that AI is a tool, not necessarily the master or that's going to replace it. To your point.
Thank you so much. Okay, so my next question is for healthcare. How is AI being deployed in the clinical or administrative workflows today? And what impact has it had on patient care or provider workflow?
That's a great question, and when I look at that, I see it as a multifocal question. So I remember meeting Moxie, and I'm not sure if any of you have heard of Moxie, but Moxie is a little robot about this big. And when we introduced it to one of our sister facilities, all you would have to do is ping Moxie on an Apple on mobile, and all the nurses had it that were deployed. We had a 2-week long, they came on in the facility, they taught all of us this information, but it's busy. And as all of you guys know, healthcare is definitely different than what it was 25, 30 years ago. So how do we get everyone to understand, because we all learn differently? So we have the workforce come out, number one, and they're teaching us daily about this. But Moxie was someone that I would ping and say, I need you to come pick up labs from floor 7. It actually came to the elevator. This is in the state of Texas too. And the elevator's open. It had a little heart, but once it got up to me, it said, hello, Adam. The heart would beat, and you place the labs in there, and it takes it down to the labs. So some of these things that are out there, it's continuing to develop each and every day, but we still have to safeguard it because of data breaches. So we also have IT behind there, and a lot of work that goes in it every day with our IT services for sure.
So it's like a robot that would help you out with different tasks. Yeah, and I've seen it. That's good. Thank you. The next question would be for IT and cybersecurity. For those that are entering IT and studying cybersecurity for careers, how important is AI literacy compared to traditional skills like programming and networking?
Oh, that's a great question. And that's really on our minds a lot. To answer your question directly, it is the number one thing that we're shifting to. Cybersecurity folks, because cyber is embedded in almost everything, if not everything, cybersecurity has become a major factor and an issue within all industries. So the use of AI is paramount for cybersecurity professionals to learn that. And the reason I say this is, and I've done offensive operations, I've done defensive operations, I've been on both sides of the cyber. The ability of people that do offensive work or attack systems are beginning to utilize AI in a way that makes the attacks work at machine speed. They are so fast, so sophisticated, that the defenders have to know how to use AI on their side to defend against that. There's no way a human can keep up with the complexity and the speed of the attacks at this point. So, So AI is definitely something that, from the cybersecurity perspective, we have to learn. And we're seeing the data breaches in IT, logistics, manufacturing. In every industry, we're seeing these issues. And now, within the last probably 36 months, we're seeing AI-enabled malware, AI-enabled attacks. And those are much more complex. So we need the AI tools on our side, on the defensive side, to counter that. So that's really the long answer to your question. Short answer is yes.
Yeah, so I know our college is working on developing an associates of AI. I think that's going to be coming out pretty soon. So I know they're going to talk about it a little bit later. So it's in response to all the things that are happening now. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, so for manufacturing, how do you upskill or reskill workers to ensure they remain competitive alongside AI systems?
Very simply, as already sort of answered in the first question to all panelists, we have to increase soft skills. We have to get people comfortable working with technology. It's a friend, not a foe. And I think one of the key terms coming out is AI, just like automation in the manufacturing environment. It's been slowly shifting jobs in manufacturing for 20 plus years. From simple pick and place automation to fully integrated human movement type machines. Where AI comes in is we want to implement that machine learning part, so there's not over inspection or under inspection in the manufacturing environment. This creates a whole other set of job skills that are necessary. So AI, it's a transition. We have to transition our workforce. It's not we have to replace our workforce. Machines with AI can do the repetitive type robotic functions and use the human capital to do the more soft skills, the more analysis, the more deep diving, the more root cause analysis. So we're upscaling our labor force, our direct labor force, to be able to work in those type of higher paid jobs. Or maybe they want to go another route and become an IT specialist or a cybersecurity specialist. So there's all types of options that are being presented to these folks to move them up the scale.
Thank you for sharing that. I know it was mentioned earlier in the speech about how we're becoming more efficient, we're getting time back, and we can use that to do other things that we may not have had time to do before, or not as much time. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so this next one, this could be a question for everybody. So what advice would you give students who are anxious about AI replacing their future careers? I know as I teach computer science, computer programming, I know sometimes my students have had these fears that maybe their jobs could be replaced and have more difficulty finding work. But what advice would you give to students who are anxious about AI replacing their future careers?
Well, rather than the cup's half empty, let's look at it as half full. With AI and the emergence of technology coming, there's actually more skills and opportunities for our students. So they need to work with their educator, their counselor, and look, what's the future career jobs, and move into those fields. To not have an education, to not have a skilled trades, I think AI is going to leave those people behind. But that's a human choice that we make. Become educated, get a skill, work with the university, and your job is endless. I mean, there's going to be many more choices. You know, the students maybe feel like the blacksmiths did, horse and buggy era, early 1900s when the automobile was created. Oh, we're all going to be without jobs. The automotive industry created far more jobs than blacksmiths. This is similar. Embrace the change, look at what opportunities are there, and go for it.
Yeah, I would echo them as well. And you know, I've got a lot of gray hair now, and I've seen these waves come over the last 40 years or so. So to your point, there's going to be, and there are, massive opportunities with the AI industry. Creating the AIs, maintaining them on the trade part with the data centers, because data centers are massive. I'm not sure if you guys have ever been inside a data center, but some of these are 18, 20 football fields in size. They're huge. The construction industry, applied construction goes for here. But, you know, that's a skill set for data centers. The electrical, the water, the management of all these are brand new, to your point, skills that are going to be required. And when I say electrical, we're not talking, you know, electric wires that we have here. We're talking massive industrial scale electrical stuff. Stuff that you guys teach here. All these are just great opportunities going forward. So to your point, it's not a half empty type of thing. It's like, great, what can I do now that I, can do with this industry?
I mean, I'm really both of what they said, phenomenal answers. And I walk by faith, not by sight. So this question actually was asked to me this past week. I was in Vegas, and one of the students, I was at a university, and they asked me, they were nervous and they get anxiety and they know all about technology, and they go to Coach Kelly and he gives them 10 answers. And I said, guys, he's already prepared the future for you. So what you have, what he has for you, no one can take away in this world. So we have to learn to adopt and adapt or abandon that technology. And it's the human that will do it, because the Almighty Father has already prepared the future for us.
Okay, so for a future-looking question, by 2030, what percentage of your workforce do you expect will require reskilling because of AI by 2030?
In cybersecurity, pretty close to 9%. It's going to be very high. And then we have quantum on the horizon coming up, and that's a whole nother set of skills that we're going to have to start working on in the 2030s.
If I chat GPT it says by 2030, 30%. 30%. I think that's a pretty good number.
And I think for healthcare, and it's an ongoing for lifelong learners, I'm going to say 100%, because evidence-based research has shown you that we constantly have to be learning every day. So science changes, which is why we're here today to talk about it.
Thank you so much. Let me see, given the time we have, can we do Q&A already, or do you want to do more questions?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we can go ahead and do some Q&A. I'm sure you all have a lot of questions that you may want to ask the panelists. So whoever wants to go first. I think we'll pass around the microphones that everybody can hear your question clearly.
Thank you. Great. My name is Reynaldo from the International School of Nursing. What I'm interested to know from perspective is how, when you use AI, I use AI with my student every day. But what I find is the ethics, the integrity, the transparency. Because when you told me that cybersecurity people will try the competition, but AI and the awareness and the consciousness, I think something has to shift. Because you want to be in competition, AI will say, okay, hey, you can do this and mess up. But it's not what we want. We want to enhance, create, big, huge transparency, the ethics, maybe the business ethics. How do you see we prepare the student to be having new skill? Because we're talking about soft skill. It's not being in competition, it's being, how can we enhance everyone to be better on themselves? But we run in all days of business competition, and AI will continue. I think it's going to be challenged. What do you think?
For me?
For any of you, because it goes with what?
Yeah, I think it was said earlier, as we utilize technology up to this point and more into the future, as business leaders, as educators, how do we do it responsibly? And responsibly includes the ethics of it, right? And I think each business, each educator, that line's gonna move a little bit based on the industry you're in, based on whether you're talking an airplane pilot who has 500 people he's responsible for at 30,000 feet, or it's writing a term paper that has much lower risk of huge penalty if it's done incorrectly or wrong. So these are moral and ethical and even legal issues that we haven't all considered, and we're going to be confronted with these as they come about. Technology, if it doubles, quadruples in size over the next 5 years, as far as what's available now, we can't comprehend really what 2030 looks like, right? We can only guess it. So we need to have the rails in place to guide us morally, ethically, in business, in education, as we see this technology evolving. And it's not going to be cookie cutter. It's not one size fits all.
So you brought up an extremely good point, by the way, and last year I got a call from Anthropic. And at a certain level, you're absolutely right. The humans have to set up the guardrails. But there's different layers, levels of AI. There's AI, there's ML, expert learning, there's different flavors of those. True AI, which kind of leads to your question, I think, at a broader level. How do you program ethics and morality into an AI? That's the question that I was asked about a year ago. And a lot of these AI engineers are pure cyber reading. The behavioral aspect is a secondary thought at this point. And to your point, we need to put and find out how to do this. And this is the hard part. How do you teach an AI ethics and morality? And I mean a true AI, not the machine learning that we're dealing with at this point. And that is going to be the tougher part. And you hit it right on the nail right on the head. That's going to be an issue going forward, because I can recount different stories to you guys of people having to disconnect AIs because it makes the wrong decisions, or it goes rogue and does something you really don't want to do. But then the problem is, well, how do I teach it ethics? And I was recommending to these folks, one, you have to get behavioral scientists, that's the first thing. And two, treat it like a child. You treat it like a 5-year-old and you train it, because AI and ML to a certain degree, you have to do a lot of what they call training, a lot of that. And it has to be in a certain way, because you can bias a lot of these systems. From a cybersecurity hacking point of view, if I can bias your AI and make it do something that you didn't want it to do, then I can get in. The same concept applies at a bigger level, which you're bringing up, is if we do not teach the AIs or find a way to create the ethical and moral frameworks, we're asking for trouble, in my opinion.
And I would have to say that I use the example, and I've used this for years, and you guys can Google it. It happened at the University of Florida in Gainesville, at the hospital, which is a level 1 trauma facility, Prestige. And years and years ago when this happened, they printed out the label for oh gosh, I can't even think of what it is now, hormone growth, and they were administering it to a 10-year-old little boy in the PICU. Well, the nurse had actually got the bag, hung it, and I say a bullet did not kill this child, a stray bullet point killed this child. And because the technology printed it out, the nurse trusted it, she didn't verify it, she hung it, and it killed the baby because he got too much growth hormone. And please Google that, it happened at the University of Florida. But I use that as an example because, again, we should always have human override, and we always got to double check humans and artificial intelligence in healthcare, because we have lives in our hands, and it's your loved ones, and how I, as a CNO, speak to the individuals that come in, from physicians, the doctors, even Javier, I was telling him when he first met me when I came here, you are the most important person to me. When you're in front of me, you are, and then you are, because I'm a servant. And sometimes I feel like we in healthcare forget that. And we have to ground ourselves, and that's my role, is to bring everyone back to play in the sandbox science together, because it does get busy and we're overcrowded at times when mass casualties happen. Sort of like my home's blowing up right now because we're doing it at the airport. But I will say we always just gotta make sure that we're checking each other, and it was said collaboration and communication. Them are the two things that we gotta continue to do as we move forward, because guys, look at the generation that's in this room. I'm looking at you guys, and y'all all come from different generations. And so how I might project something on you, you might not like, but then somebody else is. So that's one of the things your CNOs right now in healthcare, and all healthcare really is having to do with artificial intelligence. It's gonna learn in the different generations, because you're gonna learn at a different speed than my 22-year-old daughter who graduated with an AA when she was 18, had a bachelor's when, 22. Like, these are things that we have to do together, especially for the community that we're privileged to serve.
Any questions? Go over there. Come back to you.
So, sort of a question and also a comment. A while ago, I worked for EVR Engineering, a local engineering firm here in McAllen. And our industry has significantly changed because of that. In the sense that we use it to enhance our job, not to replace it, but for enhancement. Market research. Things that would take us half a day to research our clients, either our competitors. We get to have AI do it for us. Give us a report, and of course they decide what to do with it. So when I look at everything that you all are doing when it comes to, especially Southeast College, AI can actually touch every single department. what I would like to see or like to know is, at what point is South Texas College going to include either an AI or an AI topic in their curriculum for, let's say, HVAC? Have a topic and say, hey, today, this half the semester, we're going to talk about how AI is going to enhance your HVAC job. That's what I would like to see, because at that point, now we're preparing students to use that as a tool, as an enhancement, like it has our industry. That's sort of what we want to do.
I can add a little bit to that. So in our program, we teach in the computer science department. One of our courses is COSC 1301, Introduction to Computing. This course is not for computer science majors. It's mostly for all students that are entering the program. Usually a lot of freshman students take it. In this course, we're starting to introduce them to AI skills. We're giving them access to industry certifications through Google, in particular the Google AI Essentials Professional Certificate, also the Google Prompting Essentials Certificate. So that way they're learning these skills on how to use an AI, how to validate its output, and how to create prompts that will help them be more efficient. And then also, Google does offer as well it's like a shorter course on how to improve your job searching skills, how to prepare yourselves for interviews and resume creating through AI. So these are some of the things that we're doing, at least in our courses, in this particular class, because we want our students to have those skills by the time they go to their other fields of study. Like if they're going to study HVAC or some other area, then they'll have a good background on AI by the time they get there. So at that point, probably other programs will find more innovative ways to include AI in their courses, their course curriculum. I know like recently we had an upgrade to our learning management system, Blackboard, and now you can have AI conversations as one of the assignments. So I've been utilizing this, experimenting with it, so that way students can, like especially if they're doing online classes, sometimes they want to practice some of the things that they're learning, then they can do it with an AI persona and a scenario, and they can test it out. So those are the things that we're doing at the moment, at least here at STC, but I'll let
Just to follow up on that, and I'm curious as to that question, because I've been thinking about this, and I know this sounds kind of weird, but like when I get a plumber, I want the oldest plumber I could ever find, because they have the best experience. The 19-year-old plumber, and I know they mean well, but they don't always get it right. But the 80-year-old guy, even if they show up in a walker, I don't care. They have seen it all. So I've been thinking about that, and this just kind of jogged something. If the AI systems can help even the young plumbers, like, because an AI can parse through terabytes of data in seconds. Like, okay, I've got this problem here. What does the AI think it is? And that way, that experience of that 80-year-old dude is now translated into AI. And I'm thinking, just correct me if I'm wrong, if you integrate that into your different trade pipelines, whether it's electrician, plumbing, anything really, of creating part of your curriculum that allows the student to figure out how to get the AI to help them out with that particular domain, whether plumbing, electrician, whatever. And guys like me don't have to ask for the oldest plumber around, that kind of thing. But I think you hit on something very interesting there, and I've been thinking about that. And I think that would behoove and help the students out when they get into the field. They can actually say, okay, well, I don't know what this is, but let's see if they have the data and I do it. So that might be some blueprint up there.
Yeah, it's like an assistant that we can use it in many various ways. Like I know in my home, we've been using AI for recipes, and our menu at home has increased, tenfold. I've gained like 20 pounds because of it. But I eat pretty well now, and thanks to AI, it makes a lot of great recipes.
I like that. I'm the user. Whatever game I'm the user.
Let me add on to that one, because my name is Berkeley Gavin, I'm here from South Texas College. I do have a question for the panel, but I think to help answer your question too, the very next section on our agenda is going to kind of focus on exactly answering that question for you on what we're doing already here at the college. So I think you'll be very pleased with hearing what they say. So, but to the panel, first of all, thank you very much for being here. I sincerely appreciate it. I love hearing all your different perspectives from the different areas. I completely agree with everything you said regarding the soft skills as well. And I'd like to probe on the soft skills a tiny bit, because I do see that the future will be, we're increasingly kind of a symbiotic relationship with the evolving of AI technology. But in your perspective for your areas, what are the soft skills that you believe the students of today, or even the current workers that need to be retrained, need to sharpen up on to more effectively use AI in your areas?
On the manufacturing side, it's the ability to analyze data. With the data centers and the AI comes the ability to gather terabytes of information and to process it into specific outputs depending on the algorithms you're running, right? Or the level of AI. That needs to be interpreted. Who's going to do that? This is a great area of increasing opportunity for our workforce to become analytical centers, to be able to analyze this data and make recommendations based on it.
So, let me preface this with, do you remember when you were 5 or 6 years old and the world was brand new and you were so curious about everything and everything was just like awesome? So, with AI, to Brett's question, the ability of humans to be creative, intuitive, do analysis, all of those things to a certain degree are secondary right now. At certain areas, people are top knowledge, they're within a certain paradigm, they're in a framework, and they're not analyzed, to your point. They just look at the data and like, okay, great. With the advent of AI and the ability for it to gather everything, and this is really the ML part and the large language models, the RAG models, all these things that are underpinning AI right now. They have phenomenal abilities to collect lots of data, and they can parse it extremely well. You tell it exactly what you want, they'll bring it out. And what takes me 6 months to pull, it'll do it in 10 minutes. So to your point, what that allows the humans to do is do the creative part, do the analysis of that entire data pool. That I think is the soft skill that we need to start really pushing, or pushing maybe the wrong word, asking students to really move to that paradigm. We need to become more creative, adaptive, and do analysis instead of just be robots pulling data out of Google. But that was a great question, right?
Yeah, and for healthcare, I would say that really both of what you guys just stated, and it's all about communication and collaboration. So when you think about a hospital or STC college, or any trade line, think about how many people work. Right? Think about how many degrees work in the hospital. So you think, here's the CEO, but the CEO is only as good as the team that she or he has beside him. So when you lead with the mindset of we're leading together side by side, so I love to do shared governance. So I take one person from every single service line of the facility, not just nursing. And we meet monthly, and what that does is bring ideas to the table where we have gaps within our system, but also as we move forward, what I would say that we would need to implement is an artificial intelligence champion for each of the service lines so that we can meet and sort of dig deep and what I say, get granular and get some solid wound that we already know that we've got to learn. So